another edition of Emancipated Human here on the Voluntary Virtues Network. Today, with me, I have my good friend Colin, and he's a peaceful parent as well. We have a lot of things in common: our children and some of the drugs we've done and the fun we like to have. So it's pretty exciting to have him here, just as another resource for all of us to be able to share not just the theory and the airy-fairy stuff of peaceful parenting, but more solid, practical examples. A lot of people think that it's kind of hard to do homeschooling or unschooling, peaceful parenting, and all that, but in reality, it's completely the opposite. It really helps. I mean, personally, I don't know about you, I have been able to learn so much, and not just that, but unlearn a lot of the bullshit that's around just the ideology of being a parent. So what are your thoughts on this?
Well, yeah, do you hear me right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm there with you, and I agree. I don't want to make any public declarations about any drug use or anything like that. But yes, of course, I'm right there on point with you. We've talked a lot online, and we seem to have this similar sentiments about things, similar humor and passion. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm very excited, Louis, to meet you in virtual real life right now. It's amazing. It's mind blowing, actually. And yeah, with the parenting thing, yes. So one of the things I do is basically my full-time job is this sort of anarchist father at the end of the block. So I take care of my children. I homeschool them, or now we've moved beyond homeschooling because almost all of it happens like in the driveway or somewhere besides inside of the home. Um, and yeah, it's kind of free parenting, or I call it life schooling. I have lots of little tales I kind of post about. I talk about on my show, which normally works, but last night it didn't work, so it's kind of a disappointment. Um, yeah, so I got all kind of little anecdotes, and I think we could have an alliance where we encourage people who are going to be tuned in on VVN. You're still there with me, right, Louis? Uh-oh, glitched out on me.
It's gone.
Okay, there you go.
I can
Yep.
hear you now. So
Okay.
yeah, I think that's pretty awesome. And one of the coolest things you've told me recently is about the private justice, that you're getting to be sort of a judge um, with the children. So what the hell is happening with
Yeah,
technology
I put
today?
it that way because I knew you would get what I was saying. Like, it's like I'll tell you the anecdote. Um, these kids rolled up at my house to get in contact with another kid who had apparently broken their thing accidentally, and they want $50 from him. So now they're having this. It's almost a fight. It was almost a conflict. I help them sort of. I use kind of voluntary virtues thinking to try and help them think about what it is exactly that they're trying to do, and how best to find a solution that everybody's going to be mostly satisfied with. And it was a $50 problem. I tried to get them to think about how if each person, involved could find people who would donate $5, like granddad or whatever. It's not hard to find an adult who would pay $5 to avoid a conflict for their kids. So each kid could give $5. I'd give $5, and they go to their granddad and get $5 until we have $50. We buy the new speaker or whatever it is about, and then we avoid the problem because really no one's guilty. It's just an accident. But kids can take this stuff seriously. They don't like their property being violated. Did you hear me there? Uh-oh. Come on. Come on, Google Plus. Uh-oh, did we lose each other? Glitched up. Damn it. Oh, fuck. Ah, my God, what the hell? No, get rid of that. No. Ah, I want to go back.
Are we there?
Yeah. Do you,
I,
did you hear any of that at all?
I don't know what that was.
Yeah, it froze at some point. I kept talking
I
because I
heard a
wondered.
lot of it, but suddenly everything just went dark.
Oh, how about now?
I can hear you.
Okay, you can't see me though?
Yes?
Yep. Okay, I see you and I hear you. This is good, right? Okay, so did you hear anything I was saying there? I was describing the $50 dispute that these
Yes, I
kids
heard a
came
lot
to
of
me
it.
with. Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know
I heard
what's
a
going to
lot of
happen
it. I
because
did
this
not
just happened
finish it. I
today.
can hear you pouring. Okay.
Yeah, basically, I tried to help them think about how really it's about $50. So let's get the $50. No one's to blame. I helped them understand why it wasn't a purposeful problem. It'd be different if there was a purpose, someone trying to harm someone, like this. So it's kind of trying to use libertarian justice theory and stuff to try and the kids know this automatically, but they kind of want to protect their own self-interest and they don't like when someone violates their property. It's extremely offensive to a kid, even like a toddler. You take their toy away, and they're offended that you've stolen their property. So it's kind of interesting to see how that works. You kind of got to work with that, finding ways to show
Yeah.
them conflict avoidance solutions and stuff like that. So it was just an interesting episode that occurred today. But like, man, I had 10-year-old boys, they were like pushing the wheelchair up the street and like piling on top, jumping on top of each other's head on the trampoline, and like they do crazy things. These 10-year-old boys are like off the hook kind of crazy, right? So I'm trying to oversee them all from the patio and not interfere, but also every 2 minutes I have to jump in there and help them with their negotiation skills and stuff like that.
Yeah, totally. I do have two little ones, 9 and 5, and whenever things happen and they come to me, I'm like, okay, guys, we need to figure this out, a very civilized manner, but you are going to have to figure it out to a term that is beneficial for the two of you. So a lot of times that's the only mediation that happens, unless there is actual aggression, usually from the 5-year-old. He tends to sometimes get not very happy and he just snaps. So,
Oh yeah.
it's not an easy thing to deal with. And it's not for anybody. So it's not just because we're peaceful parents does not mean that, I do tell them, how would you like it if they did that to you? Well, no, I would not like it. Well, then why would
Come on, thing. Uh-oh. Did Louis leave us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. I hear you now. Or I did. You disappeared for a while there. Wonder what our problem is here.
You can hear me?
I do now, yeah. I see you in the little square now, and I hear you. I don't know what if the problem's on your end or my end or YouTube or what. There's a
I
third
have no
person here,
idea. I'm
Voluntary
actually pretty
Virtues.
close to my. Oh,
Yeah, I know, me too.
look at that. I wonder who's that? Well, it's a
Yeah,
live
maybe
broadcast, so
that's.
we're just gonna let it roll.
Yeah, keep going.
Just
Yeah, what you were talking about, what you were saying there, like these kids, sometimes people want to, maybe in our movement or whatever, they want to like romanticize the children, and these children are constantly aggressing against each other. They're like constantly trying to jump on your head and stuff like that. They're learning about boundaries. They don't automatically know, and you have to help them and protect their boundary for them. I kind of so you as a parent, it would be my theory or whatever, that you have like a you have a duty, a chosen duty as a parent to protect their boundary. Like they have a boundary, like every other human, that we could assume they would protect. Your duty, because they can't do it, you've chosen to have the duty to protect it for them. So that's why you can act as the protector of a child, but you cannot harm the child. So that's kind of, a lot of people like to talk about spanking and what's the right thing about spanking. So that'd be my viewpoint on that. Like, it's still left to interpretation. The parent is the homesteader of the protective boundary around every child. I don't know.
yes,
I'm
totally.
kind of.
I totally agree. And like the only way we do, we do tell them just sort it out. And everybody has their own room. So sometimes they put little signs like, Bayuya is banned from my room.
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
So there no choice and all that. So they have to go to a common area, common ground here, the living room or my room, for them to be able to do things because
Yeah.
because you kind of broke my toy, you're banned for a day or two or whatever happened, or you aggressed somehow, like you were too rough or whatever. So they do already have their ways to sort things out in a very what is the word, peaceful and voluntary way. And there's nothing I can do about that. A little boy or little girl comes and, oh, he or she does not let me in her room. What did you do? Why would that happen?
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do, and I'm not going to mandate, like say, yeah, come in, let him in. I mean, we can't do that. They need to figure it out. And like, I guess the one thing when I was little, I really hated it when they treated me like if I was stupid. Oh, because he's little, we need to care for him in such a way that just baby them around. I think it's really empowering for kids to be able to make their own decisions and to be able to understand repercussions. So one of the things that I'm really happy about is my little 9-year-old is able to already find fallacies in my thoughts sometimes whenever I'm talking to her. She's like, well, perhaps you mentioned this, so that means that this, like she logically deconstructs my arguments at times. And
Nice.
that makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Like I was telling my wife, I was like, now I can die in peace, knowing that these two kids are logically strong enough to just be able to find errors in people's processing of ideas or whatever, so they won't be taking it. Nobody's going to take advantage of them.
Yeah. Totally.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, something you were saying, my son has like he's always pointing out when parents, like at the skate park or the playground or something like that there, and he like skate park is a good example. He would be, some parent is there, the kid does a jump, it was an okay jump, he's a 6-year-old kid or whatever, and the parent's like, you jumped 5 feet in the air. Like, he calls it overindulging the child, and he's like, the worst thing a parent can do is overindulge their child. So,
That is
every
funny.
time I try, and I always joke, and I always tell him, oh, you jumped 16 feet in the air, and he kind of looks at me sideways and gets that I understand that I understand his comment about overindulging. Like it's kind of like helicopter parenting, parents who
Uh-huh.
don't who like don't let their children just be free to play, and solve their problems out. And like I also get kids who come around and hang out with my kids, and they're coming from an environment, usually from the school or from their parents, where they're always tattling. They're looking to a parent always to solve their problem, or they might even also always resort to. Sometimes it's right, it's justified. Like they're always resorting to a violent reaction, but sometimes it's unnecessary. Like I keep trying to tell them, like, yes, of course, you have a right to push someone away from you if they keep touching your body, but maybe there's another option. Maybe you can get away, or like I tell my kids that they should defend themselves against someone who's bullying them, but also that they should try and remove themselves from it or avoid violence as much as possible or conflicts. It's interesting to see how they want to do that. Sometimes sometimes I tell my son, I'm like, you don't want to hit your sister. How would you feel? And he's just like, exactly, I would hate it. That's why I'm the one doing the hitting, and I neglect it. Like it's almost like he doesn't quite, it takes a while for him to learn that reciprocity is a real thing, It's not
Yep.
immediately obvious, But the kids basically do have their own natural ethic. They do understand the basics of property and ethics and the political ethic, and it's a libertarian one that they naturally have. But they also are trying to assert power in the world, because if you imagine what it'd be like to be a kid, it's like there's giants walking around who know everything, and you don't really know why things fall to the ground or anything like that. You're still kind of don't really know everything, and these people can just tell you what to do, and they give you, they're kind of in control. The children are kind of out of control, so they're seeking ways to find control in the world. I think is a big thing to understand about how children think about things. Why they
I think
might act a certain way.
you're touching on a subject that I think is really important and very dear to me. Exactly what you said. They look at us as ways to be able to understand and interpret the world. So imagine if the most important person of your life hits you and shakes you and is really aggressive. So you grow up with this idea that that's normal, and that, yeah, I grew up all right because they spanked me, so whatever. But I mean, like that, we give the idea that to love someone, it gives you permission to mistreat them.
Yeah.
I abhor that idea. I think that's the parents is where you are kind of learn uh, real and unconditional love. How would we deal with this situation in a peaceful manner without resorting to violence of any sort? Where they're like everybody is able to, it's not a win-lose situation, but a win-learn situation. So even if you don't win from it, you don't lose, but you learn, and everybody's okay. I mean, it's not always great, but you're gonna, okay, well, I messed up, so my consequences are I don't get to use daddy's phone, or I don't get to go to the park, or whatever it is. So I mean, is that kind of what you do too?
It sounds a lot like types of scenarios that I find myself in, and yeah, and then also you can try and take a stance on a certain thing. Then children are going to kind of like find workarounds. They're gonna force you to have to reevaluate. You have to be really fluid. So you have to be also like it's almost all failure. Like almost every day, it's like I'm failing at my attempt at being the greatest parent. But then, it's kind of 10 steps back and 1 step ahead, which sounds like it's failing, but it's really failing forward. So, we got to have a lot of self-forgiveness. I think there's a lot of forgiveness involved in parenting. Like if you don't forgive your children for their infractions, it's going to be really hard to understand their learning process. And yeah, so I basically look at home education as me being the student. They're my teacher, I'm the student. But I'm not going to let them run out in front of a car. I'm not going to let them do things that are going to harm them, because I would be reneging on my responsibility, which I chose to take on as their protector of their, protection barrier, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it doesn't really happen, but they do play in the street constantly. Most of their play is like right there in the middle of the street, whether it's chalking the street or riding, playing in the. I have this wheelchair that all the kids jump on like at the same time and ride around like in the Bloom County comic book or whatever, and they make up their own games and they have their own justice. Every once in a while, it almost comes to fisticuffs, and that's when I try and I keep my radar open for that. I try and stand back until these kind of problems occur, and then I also try and throw things out there. Usually they ignore everything I say because I'm some creepy weird adult or whatever, but basically I try and throw ideas out there, quotes, concepts. I play them videos all the time. I played them this video of the girl that it's a link I got from you today, the girl with no arms, and she's got
Oh yeah.
like, I just show this to the kids and they're mind blown. They're like totally learn something. I don't know what they learned, but I know they learned something from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
try and keep that. I try and make that the lesson. I do also, basically force my children to do a formal kind of lesson, although it's not formal in any sense except from my son's perspective. Like I make him write cursive a sentence every day, and that's about it. He does Khan. I try and get him to do Khan Academy every day. He's like knows about physics laws, and I mean like he's way more educated than the state school children around. And I can guarantee that. So
I know
for
it.
that I just have to tell everybody, unschool your children because they will get the best education. That's the real reason. Not just because I hate the government, which I really despise the state, but because I want my children to have the best education possible.
Yeah, that's the one thing that my dad told me. He said it does not matter what money I
Oh, I
leave
can't hear you.
behind.
Your mic's turned off.
Oh, hello, hello. Can you hear me? Hello.
It's good now. Yep, good
Okay.
now. Yep.
Just that's the one thing that my dad told me. He said it does not matter what I leave behind for you. The best inheritance that I could give you is your education. That's basically what's gonna free you, open your mind, and just allow you to eat the world if you so desire. So I really enjoy what you say, and it's almost 9 o'clock, but I think we need to do this sometime soon again. I really enjoyed having you here at
Yep.
Emancipated Human. So if you
Awesome.
guys don't know about my friend Colin, just give him a shout. He's on Facebook, and we're gonna put the link below also and mine. So thank you so much, and we'll stay in touch, brother.
Peace, Louie.
Likewise, peace, love, anarchy. Thank you.